you might be wondering right now. What does Confucius have to do with whiskey? A rather legitimate question. However, there are many aspects of his philosophy which perfectly align with the essence and the spirit of whiskey culture. To understand this, we need to take a leap back a few millennia to ancient China, to meet one of the brightest minds of all time, whose thoughts and teachings have inspired and shaped empires and nations. Confucius, name Latinized by the Jesuits as Confucius, was born in 551 BC in the state of Lu, present-day Shandong. Tradition has it that he came from humble origins, probably belonging to a fallen noble family. He lost his father at the age of 3, and despite the poverty, his mom managed to secure him an education. Thanks to his intellectual abilities, Confucius was able to make his way as a public official in the service of the state of Lu. This aspect forged an important part of his thought. No one is born wise. Knowledge and wisdom are acquired over time. Everyone can be educated and learn. This was a revolutionary idea, considering that such privileges were reserved for the elite castes at the time, in a China that was anything but united. During a period known as the Spring and Autumn period, each feudal state sought to dominate the others, in a vortex of perpetual violence and corruption. Confucius attempted to restore order, drawing inspiration from the ancient rulers of the Zhou dynasty. In his view, it is precisely the old values, traditions and rituals that hold a society together. A leader is expected to govern with virtue, inspiring rather than using force. Punishment is seen as a failure according to Confucius. Unfortunately, corruption and constant power struggles in Lu and neighboring states prevailed. Confucius fast became an uncomfortable figure and was forced into exile. He spent the following years spreading his teachings to everyone willing to learn, traveling between the various states of ancient China, accompanied by his disciples. He was able to return to his homeland only in the last years of his life, where he passed away at around 71 years of age. His teachings, however, began to gain popularity only centuries after his death, during the Han Dynasty, and the rest is history. In the West, Confucianism is mistakenly labeled as a religion. Rather, we can speak of a humanistic philosophy, an ethical and moral code aimed at fostering personal cultivation. The goal is to create harmony in our family and, thinking on a larger scale, in society, which is nothing more than a large extended family. If one wants to change the world, one must start with oneself. Personal growth and harmony in the world, therefore, do not depend on deities or spirits, but exclusively on us. The Junzi, or the noble person, is not a perfect man, but one who strives to improve himself and the world every day, living with virtue and respect. As a fundamental principle, Confucius speaks of Ren, which can be translated as humanity or benevolence, meaning living virtuously and showing compassion and respect for others. This, of course, applies to both rulers and the people, to parents and children. The golden rule of his teaching is a phrase that each of us knows very well. Do not do to others what you wouldn't want done to you. The path of self-cultivation can sometimes be arduous. To make the spirit of humanity, the Ren, more understandable, Li, the rituals, come into play. According to Confucius, rituals and traditions are fundamental for creating harmony in human relationships. They do not refer only to religious ceremonies, but to all the small gestures of daily life. Greeting people, respecting the elderly, and behaving with dignity and respect. By adhering at certain behavioral norms, we learn moral values. Naturally, our behavior influences both ourselves and others. The power of ritual, whether religious or not, manifests in those situations where people gather to celebrate significant events, strengthen social and cultural bonds, and transmit values and traditions through shared practices that create a sense of identity and belonging. This may seem outdated today, but think about a wedding or a funeral. and the bond that forms between participants and the values transmitted. Or consider a concert, that situation where you find yourself surrounded by thousands of fellow metalheads, all singing the chorus of a metal anthem, showing the horns to the band as a sign of respect. This is exactly what I mean. And now let's move on to whiskey. The culture of whiskey, as already mentioned, perfectly reflects the essence of the Confucian spirit. At the dawn of its history, whiskey was distilled by farmers, probably to escape the harsh reality of daily life. However, over time it has evolved into an art, passed down from generation to generation. This evolution is not only technical, but also cultural. Whiskey has become a symbol of sharing and celebration, an element that unites people on special occasions. The ritual of toasting before drinking, wishing health and prosperity to each other, is a sign of respect and unity. That, as my friend Tommy says, transcends social and cultural differences. It doesn't matter who is in front of you. The act of toasting creates a moment of connection. A true whiskey enthusiast, moreover, seizes every opportunity to cultivate their cultural knowledge, delving into the history and traditions related to this beverage. What may seem like a simple tasting is, in fact, an immersion in knowledge. This completely changes the perception of what is in the glass, making whiskey something truly special. It is this awareness, acquired through study and self-cultivation, that allows us to appreciate it to the fullest, never abusing it. Furthermore, whiskey represents a link to the past and to the previous generations. Each sip tells a story, not only of its origin, but also of the people who created it. This aspect makes whiskey not just a drink, but an experience that invites reflection and sharing, perfectly in tune with the values of harmony and respect. Thank you for your attention and be well. Oh, by the way, if you want to delve deeper into the teachings of Confucius, you find everything you need in the Book of Dialogues.